All right, I fixed it. Okay, the audio's back. The audio is back, probably. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure the audio is back. Now, my microphone quality is not that good anyway, so yeah. I have another microphone, but I don't even know how to see. I have this. This is the microphone. I can't even plug this thing in because it has one of these cords. Um, and that there is no part of my computer that plugs into, so I guess I gotta figure that out. But this is a nice microphone, hypothetically. Maybe I'll sound nicer when I'm talking into that. But for now, it's still gonna be the scuffed audio from my headphones. So whatever, I'll deal with it. But welcome back to my What If Civilization series. What if civil Wix? So you know the thing. Ada's probably whatever. I don't even remember what I did last time, but I remember we expanded into Asia, and I'm hoping to develop this area more. So I've thought about a few things with the series, and timeline is definitely a big one. What time period is it around this time? And I would guess it's around like I would say it's around the year zero, like around there, like maybe 0 to like 100 AD is around the time period I'm thinking. And given that, I feel like we should see more expansion, especially in the East Asian front and maybe Africa definitely, and like all this stuff. So this episode is gonna be focused on filling in the gaps. I know I said like that about most episodes, but just never seems to work out. And this time I'm really gonna put the pedal to the metal, fill in a lot of areas on this map. Um, Africa, North Asia, actually just Asia. It's all gonna get filled in. Not all of it, but no one's going up here yet, but eventually. So if you like this video, press the like button so that I know. Gotten like a few likes. Pretty great. Thank you to those who did. Anyways, I'm gonna just hop on into it. All right, starting off over here in North Asia. Actually, this is still Europe. What am I talking about? With Estonia, they're growing fast. Like they're one of the fastest growing places on this map. Why is my I do not get it. How come every time I do something, it always messes up? Why is there a line there? Oh, you know what? It's because of the it's the rendering. There we go. Ooh yeah, okay. But these guys will continue moving along the South Finnish coast and they'll completely occupy all this land into their land. And eventually they'll move up north and they'll meet the, I don't know what this sea is called, but they expand quickly. They expand across the east. They occupy all of this land. They are very big and they are pretty, pretty beefy. They're pretty beefy. Meanwhile, this lime green, they're not even lime green. This is like a nausea green. But they'll expand a little bit too into this area, but they can't expand much because they're trying to keep it together. They already lost this giant chunk of Estonia. They're not trying to capitulate, so they do a little expanding, but most of their priorities are inward. However, a country that will be doing more expanding is this country, the Burgundy Maroon Caucasia country. They'll be doing a massive sweeping expansion north of their land. And I know I call them Caucasia, like their capitals here, but the majority of their land's over here in like Central Asia. So I might just call them the Central Asian country, but as long as the capital stays there, I'm gonna just keep calling them the Caucasian Burgundy country. But they'll keep moving even farther north here. I'm gonna zoom out because they're pretty big, yeah. So they're gonna take like a big chunk of land up here, claim all that. They're doing pretty good. Down here, where the green country is, I said they were dealing with some issues. They're starting to near the end of that. They're starting to be more stable, and so naturally they're gonna do a little expanding. test the waters a little bit, take all this land, maybe a little more than that. They take like this much, a healthy portion of land. So to look like that now. This blue team, blue, indigo, some color, I don't know. These guys will be expanding northwestish. Like there's a lot of mountains here, so it's kind of hard, especially around here. So they can't really do a ton of expanding, but they'll move a little bit. That's a little more than a little bit, but you know, they do a little expanding. They do what they can. This maroonish country will do some expanding over here. This gold country kind of does a little more expanding over here. These two, I think they're about on par with each other. And then this gray country here will be a little stronger than. Actually, that's a good question. How strong are these guys? I think they're all about equal strength, but that's about to change pretty quickly. These guys will be doing the most expanding out of any of them. They'll take a massive swath of land over here down to Thailand and along the. This is a. This has a name. I know it has a name. I don't know it, or maybe I do, but I just can't think of it right now. But these guys will be doing some beefy expanding as they move down the Malay Peninsula. Well, that's more like down here, but they move down pretty far and discover these islands eventually. Nah, they don't land in Sumatra, but they have a water presence. They have like a boat presence over here in the sea. This Indian country probably has more, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, these guys definitely beef up pretty fast, way faster than these two, but also I think the mountains are still kind of here, and this land isn't super valuable, so they're still dealing with it. They're doing what they can. As for this southern Chinese country, these guys will move in. They will discover the island of Taiwan and develop that, and then they'll move down here along the modern day Vietnamese coast, and they'll just I don't even know what to say for this part, but they're moving in, moving a little further inland. Eventually, they meet up with the border here with this gray country. The gray country's border is pretty straight. I don't think they would make a straight line here. I really don't like that actually. We're gonna make some like, whoa, Jesus. Okay, hold it. That was awful. We'll do something like this to give it a little more variety and make it look a little more natural because the straight lines are looking terrible. Already down here, it looks like colonialism drew these lines, but they did not. I'm gonna fix this later. Except for these guys there. They're intentionally square. But more on that later. These guys, this Chinese country will begin to develop more land down here in the whoa, what happened? What did I do? What happened? Why can I uh-oh. Oh, I'm on the paintbrush layer, that's why. Okay. Nope, it's still the wait. Alright. I think we're good. We're good? Okay, we're good. Anyways, they'll take care of all this land. As for the rest of Southeast Asia, this will not be going fully over to the what color is this? This is like a gray with a twinge of green, but these guys will develop a little land over here, and then this remaining area will actually defect. They'll claim themselves as a new country. Down here along this coast, they take all this land and quickly become Cambodia, I guess. And then the rest of this land will go over to Gray, Thailand. And then they'll do a little more expanding down this peninsula. But for now, they're good. Anyways, back over to the northern part of Asia. these guys just expanded a lot. They're probably not moving into this area fast. They're trying to hold on to themselves and not fall apart. This country here has a lot of free reign to expand, and so they do. They bolt out westward towards central China, and they'll take a big chunk of land over here. In fact, they'll kind of take a lot of this land over here that hypothetically this Chinese country could get to. They kind of don't want that, so they're gonna try to take as much of it as they can before the lavender. They're not even lavender. They're like weird faded purple. However, I will have them taking care of this land, getting their. They don't get nothing out of it, so now we have a border. Delicious. So these guys moved pretty far westward. Again, most of their valuable land isn't like it's like actually wait, why is it not? Okay. Imagine a lion room here. This is where all their like main population areas. This is the area they're working on now. Working on claiming. So we'll see how that works goes for them. As for this country, probably the most powerful of the Chinese countries. Um, they don't have a capital. Actually, none of these countries down here have a capital. Okay, we'll address that in a minute. First, they expand. Um, they're gonna take like all this land up to the border. Again, this land over here along the Chinese coast is cream of the crop. It's elite land to have. So these guys will lunge on that. But over here, they'll actually take a giant chunk of like the North Chinese Manchurian area. They'll claim all of this, and maybe a little more actually. No, I'm gonna give them a little more along here, along where like the southern, eastern coast of Russia is. They'll take a little more land, and then they'll just sweep and claim all that. Now, capital. You know what? What do we do the capital here? I'm gonna give this tealish country up here, or like these actually kind of the same color. I'm gonna fix this country's color real quick, and then I'll do the expanding for them, and then we'll do capitals. That is not the right color. Is there a country with this color so far? Not really. Closest is like this country in Nigeria, and even then it's lighter. You know what? We're keeping it. Okay. Green. Alien green. Anyways, these guys will claim uh they'll claim land. They will. Now this is all Himalayan, you can't really go here. Maybe there's a little more land that's like less rocky over here, but overall this is big mountains and there's probably like these countries will claim a little bit of the mountains, but it's pretty hard to live there. These guys will make some foray into the mountain areas, but again, not their main target land wise. Their main fool. I can't English today, but this area up here, their main target, all this like flat, pretty cold, but relatively valuable. Central Asian land, they're gonna claim. They're gonna claim all this, and they're kind of looking like uh, they're kind of Mongolian. They're kind of like I think Mongolia is southern actually, like comparatively. I think Mongolia is like right here, but nevertheless, here we'll actually have them expand a little bit, like down here. I think I was slightly off with my Himalayan projection, but they're big and they're hard to expand into. But they'll take all this land, maybe a little more. Nice big, a spoonful of land. Is that gray? I think it is. Okay. All right. So doing pretty good. I think I made them expand too far north, so now it makes this look really weird. I'm gonna give blue North China a little more land. Not like a super crazy amount, but a prominent amount. An amount to make the map not look aesthetically terrible. something like that. Yeah, and then we'll get like, all right. That's good enough. Okay, so Asia expands, and now capitals. I did not think. Actually, now I'm looking at it. I gotta do Africa real quick. All right, you know what? We'll do Africa, and then I'll add in all the capitals. Forgetting things. So let's get down to Africa, where we're gonna see some expanding. Also, after the like Saharan conference, essentially between these countries, tensions have escalated between Rome and Egypt. They do not like each other, and yeah, there's some border conflicts between them over here in the Libyan Carthage area. They are not good pals. But we'll see Rome make a little bit of expanding over here along the coast over here, but they don't do like a gigantic amount. They do a little expanding and then they stop because they're they might have other things on their minds, like a potential conflict with Cairo. Anyways, these guys will kind of fill in the land that they don't claim, moving closer south, down over here, moving close to the coast. However, a new country will be forming over here. What color do I give them? We'll give them like this faded blue. That is not faded blue. Hold on. There we go. Faded blue. This color, new country forming. Now, this country, this like Nigerian country, doesn't actually have any ambitions this way, so they won't move in. They have aspirations for the land over here, and they'll take as much as they possibly can without falling apart into ruin. So they'll claim all that land happily, and maybe a little bit more down here. Lovely, lovely. Anyways, I think I say anyways too much. Anyways, we'll see this country over here, this green African country. They'll go ahead and take a big thicket of land over here. They're much more, uh, actually, never mind. I was gonna say they're much more stable than these guys, but I don't know if they necessarily are. As for these guys, they'll move westward, take this chunk of land, kind of move out of the highlands of Ethiopia, and take a little more foresty Congolese. Actually, is this Congo? This is like, I think this is like Central African Republic. But as for this military green Tanzanian country, they'll expand a little more this way, but again, their main focus is Tanzania and the Great Lakes of Africa. What are these lakes called? I know Victoria, but I don't know what these ones are. But they'll completely encompass this one. They'll touch down with the border of this one, and they'll move around it. They'll develop areas around both these lakes, eventually meeting up with the sea. And then from there, they'll just move across the entire Tanzanian coastline and develop coastal settlements, eventually securing more and more of the land inland until eventually kind of just occupying the whole thing. And boom, boom, Tanzania. They're pretty big, and they don't have a capital, but I'm working on that. As for these guys, this Red Sea Tanzanian country, not Tanzania, oh my God, Red Sea Punt, I called them Punt. They're gonna make a landing on a nearby island. They're gonna go sailing down here, discover is this the Seychelles or Mauritius? I think it's the Seychelles, but they're gonna move down here, occupy these islands, discover this island, and then eventually they touch down right about here and discover the north coast of Madagascar. How fun. They'll claim all of this. And so now this oh my God, I'm opening up settings. But Punt has just discovered Madagascar, which I think is the southernmost. Actually, no, Tanzania goes more south. Actually, yeah, I think Tanzania is slightly more southern than them. But now, as I said before, I'm putting down the capitals. So time to get my brush and lay down those capitals. Okay, here we go. So Africa, I think I'm missing a few, yeah, including these guys whose capital will be right there in the middle, smack dab in the middle of their square. I kind of want to do like the paintbrush and draw like a straight line. I might do that sometime, but for now, their border is mostly square. Anyways, what else is new? These guys need a capital. Their capital will be right here in like Burkina Faso-ish area. This is Roman. I don't know what I'm doing. These guys, their capital will be right here. This green country, their capital will be right there. Pretty big capital, I'd imagine. These guys, I gave them a capital. These guys don't have a capital. I'm gonna put it like right here in the Ethiopian highlands. And then Tanzania, their capital is right. It's right here. Nice snug capital. I think that's all for Africa. I think I've got all that done. So, oh man, I hope I didn't mute myself. There's this microphone button here. I think it's fine. I don't think I can mute myself, but I guess I won't know until the recording's over. Anyways, North Germany doesn't have a capital. Their capital will be right up here in Denmark, right about, where do I want to put this thing? No, it's gonna be like right in the middle. I think it's right in the middle. And then Norway's like the Scandinavian one. Their capital will be right here. Yeah. Any other countries I missed over in this region? I don't think so. Middle East, good for now. Okay, here we go. Here's East Asia. These guys will both have capitals along the ocean. These guys' capital is right here. These guys' capital is right there. This country, their capital will be like over here. And then these guys, their capital will be, I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah, their capital will be right here. I think where Shanghai is. I might be wrong on that though. And then these guys, their capital will be right. Actually, where's Beijing? I think it's up here. I think this is where Beijing is. I'm gonna call it Beijing. And then these guys, their capital will be right along this sea here, right? No, I call it a sea. It's like a lake, I'm pretty sure, but their capital will be right there. All right, zooming out, the world has capital cities. Great, going. All right, looking pretty good. Now let's get to some strife, some conflict. Over here in Europe, we still have the two big powerhouses of the world right now, being Olympia and Anatolia. They're doing pretty good. However, they're kind of looking to really gain power over the other, and Lungjahed is like the premier country of the world. And right now, Olympia has like a very narrow edge over Anatolia, but they might as well be tied for first because they're pretty even. So Olympia is gonna do a rude move on one of their neighbors without really declaring war officially. They're going to take their guys and they're just gonna roll straight into Ream's claim over here in the Balkans. They move on in and they completely kick them out of this area. They kick them out of the Balkan Peninsula. And thus we have a big naval battle occurring between Ream and Olympia. It doesn't really go anywhere. Olympia just occupies their exclave. Exclave? I think that's the right word. They completely occupy it, and this makes Reem mad, and eventually they come to terms and settle for peace, but mostly just because Reem doesn't want to get navally invaded. They are not as strong as Olympia, and Olympia it would take a lot of resource to try and occupy Rome, and in that time, Anatolia might hell they could probably jump them and do a lot of damage. They don't want anything like that to happen, so they're fine with just securing this peninsula and then peacing out with them. However, this makes Anatolia mad. They're like, shit, they're getting away with this. Now, I think I mentioned it before, but Olympia is friends with oh my god, no. Olympia is friends with this country, this Azerbaijan country on the Anatolian border, and Anatolia is friends with this formerly Thessaloniki, now they're kind of just weird Bulgaria, but this red country. So definitely some tension. They have Nate friends on their borders. Um, and if Anatolia were to try to invade these guys, they would Olympia would attack them as well. So they're gonna find a different country on their border to attack, and that's this small lime green country. I call it lime green. It's like a sea foam green, I've heard it called. I don't know. It's like a tangy green. But they're gonna be rolling into these guys, so straight out from their border, they just waltz on in. That little like pointy part gets completely annihilated, and the Anatolians just roll on through. And then, after securing their capital and completely capturing it, we see all of their neighbors jump in to invade them, including the Arabian, Mesopotamian, Old Empyrean country, whatever you want to call it. We have plenty of names, but they roll in and do a lot of damage, meeting up with the Anatolian soldiers over here and securing all this land. And the rest is occupied by this dark green Caspian country. So just like that, this country in the middle of the Middle East, basically Iraq, gets jumped and destroyed. Most of its economy going over to Anatolia. Now, comparatively, I don't know which invasion is more valuable. I think they're both pretty valuable pickups for Olympia and Anatolia, but it just increases the tension between the two. Also, I just realized Anatolia still has two capitals. Um, I'm gonna keep it that way. Honestly, it's a union between North Anatolia and Rhodes, so I think they have like a dual capital system, kind of like how South Africa has like three different capital cities with Pretoria, Cape Town, and then Bloemfontein. I don't know how you say it. Not bad, but yeah, I think it's kind of like that. They have two functioning capitals, and part of that's because they're both really close to Greece. So if one gets destroyed, they just move to the other. Actually, no, I think I'm being silly. Or am I being silly? Maybe I'm always silly. I like that. But I'm just gonna leave it. Plus, maybe I feel like making Rhodes return sometime. You never know. Estonia. We're gonna be having no, not that. We're gonna have Estonia do a little more expanding. They're gonna brave the cold of Finland, which phew, that's a tall task. However, they do a little more expanding, eventually securing all this land. They invent the parka and move even farther north, eventually meeting the border of this Scandinavian country and securing all of this land here. As for their eastward adventures, they're going to do a lot more progress over here, meeting up with this area over here, facing the ocean. They secure all of that. And again, most of their land and people are like their developed areas aren't super far out here in the cold Russian lands. Their developed areas are like along the Baltic coast. They're really just kind of a almost a Baltic powerhouse here in most of their land and like valuable territories along the Baltic. Jesus, oh my God, Baltic. It's Baltic. I'm a goofball. I can't get it right. Baltic, Balkan. Balkan, Baltic. I just can't process it. Anyways, let's fill out this Scandinavian area. Granted, these north areas have like three fishermen living there, but the country claims it anyways. The Scandinavian country will claim this part along the modern Norway coast, which actually runs all the way up to here, but whatever. In this world, it does not, and all of this land over here along this border will be developed and occupied by the Estonian Empire at this point. So they're doing really good. Again, probably not a lot of people here. I don't think they have a big purpose for like oil out of the ground yet, so this land isn't super crazy for that. Again, it's like the year zero. Maybe it's year one now, but we're gonna have to occupy this little wacky peninsula over here too. But yeah, this Estonian country is quickly becoming an absolute powerhouse in Europe. We may see what they're capable of later. However, we're going to turn back here down to Africa now with the formation of a new nation. Ooh, that rhymed. I like that. We're going to see a country color. What colors are still available on the map? I think this is good. We're going to see a new country forming over here. No, that is not. That is the Estonian color. Did that color anything? No, okay, we're good. Down here, large country forms, something like that. All this land is going over to this new country forming. What is its name? The Funky Pink Team. I don't know. I don't have a good name for it. But they'll rapidly become very populated and become a healthy nation. They're a healthy Central African Congolese power. Um, as for this like slime green country over here along the coast here, they'll begin moving into this land in present day Gabon. They'll occupy all that. They'll take these islands, Sao Tome and Principe, and then they will secure the inland areas, making sure to have a distinct border with this new country. And then they'll claim all of this land over here. All right, looking good. Let's fix some of the squareness of Africa. And how do I fix the squareness of Africa? Um, through war. So I alluded to it earlier, and I initially was going to have it happen next episode, but I'm going to start the conflict now because I think I might lump this into a massive war. It's basically World War One, but again, it's the year zero, so it's not even a World War One because no one's even in the Americas at this point. So we'll have the Roman Egyptian War breaking out. Um, tensions boil over. Now, who's stronger? I don't really know. I think it's pretty even in a lot of places, but really, it's going to come down to the friends they have. And Egypt does not have very many friends, if I'm being honest, in this world. So they're going to move over here, taking this coast and just generally moving into the blue team's Saharan claims. Oof, voice crack. They move into their Saharan claims. Whoa, why is it doing the thing again? Cool. Pixel mania. We love pixels. Anyways, so they move in pretty fast and secure a lot of Rome's African claim. And Rome is angry. Rome begins immediately drawing up as much of their population along the African coast as they can, pulling them through boats all the way up here. It's taken a minute. They're not very fast in this timeline, which allows Egypt to take a huge chunk of their colony. I say colony, it's more like land, but they're not that far away. They're basically the same thing. So all this land is completely taken over and secured. Maybe not this like super Saharan area. They kind of just I'm just drawing a straight line for appearances. But blue team Rome will return. They'll even send some of their core forces in the Italian Peninsula down, launch them off of Sicily to start some naval invasions, but they'll do a naval invasion here. It's pretty costly, but effective. And then they'll send their forces in through the land and meet up with this area, completely beating back all the Egyptian forces in the area. And now we basically just have like the core front line of the war being established in Libya. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Uh, we have the war between Egypt and Rome. How will it turn out? Who knows? But I'll see you next time. Farewell. Happy day. Happy day. Yeah, happy day.